Hello friends, my name's Alissa and I'm the Science Program Manager at Boston Children's Museum. And you may remember that Oliver the snake has been staying here in my guest room since last March because of the pandemic. We were hoping to bring her back to the museum pretty soon, but something happened recently that means we're going to have to wait just a little while longer. A couple of weeks ago, Oliver was hiding under his log, like all the time. And sometimes he'll do that if he's about to shed, but he just shed recently, so that wasn't it. I was getting a little concerned because while Oliver likes to be under his log, he'll usually come out, explore a little bit sometimes, especially when I go into the tank to give him fresh water or something. He'll come out to say hi. But this was a little strange. He was under that log all the time and not coming out at all. I was concerned. So earlier this week, I decided I'd had about enough, came in here, took everything off the top of the tank, reached in, moved the log, and this is what I found. No, your eyes aren't fooling you. Those are eggs. Ollie had laid eggs. I was shocked. My first reaction was, what? Wait a minute. Ollie's a girl? And then, Ollie laid eggs? Usually, for most animals, you need a male and a female to make eggs or babies. There are some animals that can make babies without both a male and the female, but it's not very common. I was really, really surprised. Ollie had laid 9 eggs. Here's one of them. I was pretty surprised at how big the eggs were. I would have thought that snake eggs would be more like maybe this size. I was pretty shocked. I took some pictures and emailed everyone at the museum, and they were pretty shocked too. How did this happen? Why did this happen? What was going on? So I did a little research, and it turns out that sometimes snakes and other animals will undergo what is called Parthenogenesis. That is a long word. That means that a female will go ahead and lay eggs or have babies without a male around. There's a few different reasons why this might happen. One of them is that if there just are no males around, the females want to go ahead and have babies so that their own DNA will be passed on, even if there's no male around to help them do it. It's not completely unheard of in snakes. In fact, there was a pretty famous story a couple years ago about a ball python, like Ollie, at the St. Louis Zoo, who was 62 years old and laid a bunch of eggs, and a couple of them even hatched. So I brought Ollie to the vet yesterday just to make sure everything was okay. And I'm happy to report that Ollie is in excellent health. The vet also told me that it was unlikely that any of Ollie's eggs would actually have baby snakes inside. But when I got home, just to satisfy my own curiosity, I did something called candling the eggs. Basically, I took a bright light and I set the egg on top so I could see what was going on inside the egg. If there were any baby snakes in there, I would have seen red lines of blood vessels crisscrossing the egg. Instead, what I saw was a whole lot of nothing. So I took the eggs out of the tank, and I'm hoping that Ollie will just get back to herself soon. But why does this mean that Ollie can't go back to the museum yet? Well, the vet suggested that sometimes when a snake lays eggs like this, it takes them a little while to get back to their routine. We want to make sure that Ollie's getting back to her regular eating schedule and everything's back to normal before we bring her to the museum. If you've done experiments with me in the past, you know that sometimes I talk about variables. This is one of those times. You always want to make sure that if you're looking for changes, that there's only one thing that could affect that change. So in this case, we're going to keep Ollie here for a little while longer. That way, if she doesn't get back to her routine and if things don't settle down, we'll know that it has to do with the egg laying. If I brought her back to the museum, we couldn't be sure if it was because of the egg laying or the new environment. So, in the interest of Ollie's health, we're all just going to have to wait a little bit longer for her to go back to the museum. Right, Ollie? What do you think? She doesn't have much to say. Anyway, you might have a lot of questions about this. Please post them below, and I will do my best to answer them. In the meantime, keep your eye out for more fun science videos coming your way. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to us on YouTube. Just click on the big red button.